folks, today I'm going to show you how to castrate a sheep with the Case Stockman knife. No worries, that was a joke, of course. No animal will be harmed in this video. But very often we forget that some of the traditional knife patterns were originally invented for a specific use. And early pocket knives with a spay blade were made for castrating young farm animals. Cattle, sheep, pigs, goats or what have you. Today we are going to look at two case knives that share some similar features but also differ from one another. First, we are going to take a look at a very popular knife pattern, the Stockman knife. And the second knife is very interesting, as it is a revival of a vintage knife pattern that Case Cutlery reintroduced a few years ago. I'm talking about the Humpback Stockman. Let's start with the traditional Stockman knife, which is a very sought-after knife pattern among knife collectors. This knife pattern was introduced in the 1890s, and although it was mainly marketed as a ranger's tool at first, it soon became a popular general-purpose knife. The Stockman knife, or the premium stock knife as it is also called, is already a refined, dressier version of a heavy-duty farmer's tool, the cattle knife. Typically, a Stockman knife is a serpentine-shaped, double-end pocket knife that usually comes with 3 blades. This case knife is a large Stockman. Its closed length is 3 7/8 of an inch. As in my previous case knife reviews, let's take a quick look at the model number. 6347SS simply means it's a 4/7 pattern with 3 stainless steel blades and a bone handle. By the way, Case Cutlery's medium Stockman has its own pattern number. Instead of 4/7, it is 087. As for the blade configuration, the main blade is a clip blade and the other 2 blades are a sheepsfoot blade and a spay blade. All 3 blades are mirror polished and are made of Case Cutlery's true sharp surgical steel. Each blade operates on its own back spring. As you can see on the back, there are 3 separate springs, one for each blade. And what you can also see is the absolutely flawless build quality of this knife. Everything is perfectly aligned with no gaps. The upper scale, the first brass liner, the 3 back springs, the second brass liner and the lower scale. I really enjoy the craftsmanship that goes into the manufacturing of a knife like this. The color of the jig bone handle is called amber. This color and the jig pattern resemble real stag. Now let's compare the Case Large Stockman to the other case knife on the table. The pattern number of the Humpback Stockman is 046 and it also comes with a bone handle and 3 blades. Now what's really interesting about this knife pattern is that it is a vintage knife pattern that was reintroduced by Case in 2009 on the occasion of celebrating their 120 years company anniversary. Now, both knives are double-end knives and both come with 3 blades. The fact that the Humpback comes with a 3-blade configuration that is similar to the classic Stockman is probably what justifies the second name Stockman. There is an important difference though. The main blade is not a clip blade, it's a spear blade. And the 3 blades operate on 2 back springs only. All in all, the Humpback Stockman is also smaller. The closed length is 3 5/8 of an inch. Another important difference is the handle shape. Here we've got a serpentine shaped handle, and this handle here is symmetrical and comes with this characteristic swell or hump at the center of the back, hence the name of the knife pattern. Also, please note this convenient nail cutout. The color is called Harvest Orange, and it is one of the most dazzling colorations I've seen so far. The colors range from a golden yellow over a deep orange to warm shades of brown. Absolutely beautiful. This edition of the Humpback Stockman comes with a special feature. As you can see here on the box, it says pocket worn. Now, what does that mean? All pocket worn knives get some extra hand finishing. The handles and bolsters are more polished. Any rough edges are smoothed out as if you have carried the knife for years. By rubbing your fingertips over the jig bone surface, you can easily distinguish which is rougher. There is a bit of irony in the fact that these knives once had been used by cattle farmers and that the cattle not only supplied meat, hides, milk and other products, but also the bone for knife handles. As you probably know, the Union Stockyards in Chicago were the center of the US meatpacking industry for over a century, starting in 1865. From the Civil War until the 1920s, more meat was processed in Chicago than in any other place in the world. So at the end of this video, I would like to read a passage from Upton Sinclair's bestseller novel The Jungle, which was published in 1906. This book revealed the intolerable labor practices and the unsanitary and disgusting working conditions in the Chicago stockyards. No tiniest particle of organic matter was wasted in Durham's. Out of the horns of the cattle, they made combs, buttons, hairpins, and imitation ivory. Out of the shin bones and other big bones, they cut knife and toothbrush handles and mouthpieces for pipes. Out of the hoofs, they cut hairpins and buttons before they made the rest into glue. From such things as feet, knuckles, hide clippings, and sinews came such strange and unlikely products as gelatin, isinglass, and phosphorus, bone black, shoe blacking, and bone oil. They had curled hairworks for the cattle tails and a wool pullery for the sheepskins. They made pepsin from the stomachs of the pigs and albumen from the blood and violin strings from the ill-smelling entrails. When there was nothing else to be done with the thing, they first put it into a tank and got out of it all the tallow and grease, and then they made it into fertilizer.
Me